Okay, welcome back, subscribers and non-subscribers, to Chaos Head. I had to jump through a couple of hoops before I could actually get this recording, because Locale Emulator had to be updated, and then when I updated it, it wasn't showing up when I right-clicked on the .exe for Chaos Head. So, yeah. But now I've got it working. I just had to drag it onto Locale Emulator, and now it seems to be working. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and hop on into, or continue on. And when I was recording this last, it feels as though we skipped something. I don't know why, but it doesn't feel like this is where we're actually supposed to be. But realistically speaking, this, out of the saves that I have, is the only one that makes sense for being here. It just doesn't feel like it to me personally. I don't know why. Because it's the only one listed as a new save. But it still seems like we skipped something. But nonetheless, let me go ahead and start my timer. And let's start. Red tongues of flame to dance inside the incinerator. They were burning a sailor uniform and a number of textbooks. The house was located at the front of the mountains. From its garden, one could look out across the inland sea. The sound of boats, steam whistles came faintly from afar, and a refreshing, salty breeze softly shook the trees just beyond the house's eaves. In the midst of that tranquil airflow, only a small-statured young girl, only Orihara Kozu, standing motionless in front of the incinerator, bore about her a heavier atmosphere. Fixed incessantly on the sailor uniform and textbooks transforming to flame inside the incinerator, her eyes wore a vermilion glow. They were the sailor uniform she had worn and the textbooks she had used up until just yesterday. She made no effort to move from the spot, as though she were reluctant to part with them, despite the fact that she herself had set them on fire. She abruptly knitted her eyebrows in anguish and covered her ears hard. Her mouth opened with difficulty, but nothing more happened. And I think I said ears. I think it's supposed to be eyes. No? Ears. Okay. Neither groaning nor complaining, she simply breathed raggedly. She shook her head over and over as if to push something away. Still covering her ears, she gradually crumbled in place. When her bottom hit the ground, she moved her chin just a little, as though exhausted, and gazed expressionlessly up at the sky. She remained in that position for several minutes without so much as twitching. But, with equal suddenness, she turned about confidently as though she had heard someone's voice. Before her lay the house's veranda. Though it was the middle of the day, it was dim within the wood-constructed, over 50-year-old house, and she couldn't see much beyond the veranda. Kozu shakingly rose to her feet and walked up to the veranda. Her mother appeared right then, as though she had calculated the timing.
あら、梢ちゃん、探してたのよ。もう荷物の整理はできたの?
Kozu nodded and sat down lightly on the edge of the veranda.
あさってにはもうこの家ともお別れなのね。
Standing next to her, her mother cast a look at the serene inland sea.
東京なんて行くの、梢ちゃんは初めてよね。いいお友達ができるといいわね。
Kozu neither nodded nor shook her head in response to her mother's considerate words. Holding her silence, she continued gazing desolately at the incinerator over in a corner of the garden, which even now went on harboring its flames. The following week's school-going day, as melancholy as usual, I stared down at my feet on the way to school. It was about time for the season to start changing to autumn in earnest. The trees in Shoto Park were gradually becoming more colorful, and short sleeves were starting to get a little chilly. Since I typically stayed indoors all the time, the changing of the seasons only perplexed me. I still felt like it was supposed to be summer. I'd played Insu all weekend. Grim kept asking me about Yua, but I ignored him from start to finish. Yua hadn't mailed me once since then. She might have finally given up since I didn't send a reply. That'd be a huge relief. I got all mixed up when I talked to Yua. I seemed to be on the verge of discovering some hope for myself. But there was no point in a creepy otaku like me embracing hope. I lived all this time without ever once getting rewarded for anything, and so I'd lost interest in the third dimension. Please don't make me expect anything. Please don't expect anything of me. Someone tapped me on the shoulder from behind. Thinking it would be Nanami or Misumi, I turned around and was surprised. Yua smiled at me, her cheeks slightly flushed. For some reason, she was out of breath. Could this possibly mean she hadn't given up yet? She still had expectations for me. Without meaning to, I nodded reflexively. What on earth did Yua expect from me? Should I fall in love with you? Should I become your boyfriend? And should we then live out our lovey-dovey days as a couple? No way. I couldn't act so wholesome. I wanted to, but it would never happen. Besides, I didn't understand how Yua had come to think so well of me. I couldn't have faith in her. That's what made it impossible. I hastily walked off, leaving Yua behind, but she caught up by trotting. I guess we never told her that we only come when we have to. Surely I disillusioned her. Surely, knowing that what I was really like, she'd have lost all friendly thoughts toward me. I didn't mind, because I hadn't expected anything from the start. Go on, think of me as being creepy and gross, and from now on, please stay away from me. Yeah. I was floored. Without thinking, I scrutinized Yua's smile intently. Our eyes met, and I was forced to hastily turn my face away. Why is it that I didn't weird you out? I couldn't have so much as imagined that she would reply with such words. What could possibly be admirable about a useless human being like me? Yua smiled tenderly. I honestly thought it was a smile that could heal people.
だって西条くんは辛いのに頑張って学校に来ていますから。普通なら普通は来られないですよ。
でも僕はオタだしキモいし。
私西条くんの話を聞くの好きですよ。
What? What on earth was it? This affirmation of my whole being. Why did it feel so comforting? I had the feeling that you would be able to embrace everything about me. I had the feeling that Yua would tell me it was all right for me to be here. If I were with Yua, I might be able to go back to being a regular person.
大変予礼ですよ。
Without my noticing it, our surroundings had become empty of students. Everyone was already inside the school building.
西条くん、それじゃあ私失礼します。あ、今日の放課後時間ありますか？
え？
もしよかったらその一緒に帰りましょう。
She murmured shyly, blushing a bit.
放課後中庭で待ってます。もし気が向いたら来てください。あ、無理に来なくても全然平気ですから。失礼します。
Yua gave me a courteous bow and ran off toward the building where the seniors' classrooms were located. Watching her go, I pinched my cheek again. It really wasn't a dream or a delusion. I stayed in a daze during all of my classes that day. Or rather, I didn't pay the least attention to what was going on in my classes. Propping my chin up with one hand, I gazed on and on at the autumn sky beyond the window. Neither my classmates nor my teachers took any heed of me. But Yua looked at me. Yua was different from the rest of those assholes. As I went on thinking along those lines and having all sorts of daydreams, classes suddenly came to an end.
Yo, Taku. 今日もデートか？この前のメガネのことはうまくいってるんだろうな。おいおい、ニートだからって躊躇してんなよ。向こうがお前のこと気に入ってくれてんなら、付き合うか付き合わないかはともかく、やっちまうのが礼儀。
そんなことしないよ。
おい、なんだよいきなり大声出して。
ユアとはそんなことしない。
は？お前まだ言ってんの？なんで最初から諦めるんだよ。そろそろ引きこもりから卒業しようぜ。
僕は引きこもりじゃない。
He shouldn't have said that kind of thing in the first place. I didn't understand Misumi, who lived through his nether regions. Misumi looked puzzled, but I ignored him and hurried out of the classroom. The shortest route to the courtyard involved crossing the corridor to the building where the seniors' classes were held, then going down the stairs from there. Probably. Since I didn't come to school much, I wasn't very knowledgeable about which parts of the school building were connected to where. I wasn't sure of where all the specialized classrooms were either. So I felt a tad insecure as I went down the corridor. A lone girl stood in the dead center of the passageway, looking out at the sky. She had a terribly severe look on her face. Despite what she was doing, she didn't have anything like a fading, waning atmosphere to her. Though she was clearly getting in the way of whoever might try to pass, she wouldn't budge an inch. Or she didn't budge an inch, whatever. She must have heard my footsteps. I'm in a hurry, please move out of the way. Something about her gave off the smell of one of those delinquent types. I'd better be careful to stay as far away from her as possible and to avoid meeting her eyes. With that in mind, I swiftly tried to skirt around Girl B, or to skirt around behind Girl B.
おい
Shit, she was calling me. Was she trying to squeeze some money out of me, or say she didn't like the way I looked, drag me off to a delinquent hangout, and have me lynched there? Give me a goddamn break. I haven't done anything wrong. When I cautiously surveyed Girl B, she glared at me.
お前誰だ
Even if she asks me who, I'm Nishijo Takumi. Not that she had any way of knowing my name, of course, given that we'd never met before. She was planning on doing something horrible to me, no doubt about it.
すいません
Bowing my head so as to avoid looking at Girl B, I sprinted off at top speed. Once I had dashed down the stairs from the seniors' building and leapt outside, I checked behind my back. Seemed like the scared-looking girl from before hadn't come chasing after me. Thank God. I hated the third dimension for having traps at every turn. I looked around the courtyard as I collected my wild breathing. Sandwiched between the pool and the school building, it was so long and narrow that it might have been more fitting to call it a pathway. There were flower beds at regular intervals, and right now the purple flowers particularly stood out. What were those flowers called? I didn't really know. I spotted Yua standing in front of one of the flower beds, gazing idly at the flowers. She was really there. She'd waited for me. She'd waited for me and none other. Yua wouldn't betray me. It might be all right for me to believe in her. Yua might be able to save me. Raising her face, Yua noticed I was there. As I watched, her eyes grew wider and wider. Embarrassed, I shifted my gaze away and stood in place. I didn't know whether it was okay for me to walk up to her. Why was she surprised? Maybe I shouldn't have come. As I wavered, Yua came running up to me.
びっくりしました。
え
西条くんが本当に来てくれるなんて。どうせ来てもらえないって諦めかけてたんです。でも待っててよかった。
Maybe Yua actually tended to think along much the same lines as I did, viewing everything pessimistically, and so on. But one thing about us was radically different. I viewed things negatively, but did nothing about it. Yua viewed things negatively, but took action of her own accord. I honestly respected her for her ability to be so proactive. I wanted to be more like her.
一緒に帰ってくれますか?
I answered her hesitant question with a nod. Side by side, Yua and I headed for the main gate. Somehow, it was kind of embarrassing. I also started to have the feeling that the other students leaving school were watching us enviously. The more conscious I became of it, the jerkier I got. Going on home with a girl, just the two of us, wasn't possible after all. I passed by an unfamiliar teacher, although I only assumed he was a teacher because he was wearing a suit instead of a uniform. Was there really such a young teacher around here? Since I rarely came to school, I had no memory of the teachers' faces. There were even times when I had forgotten what my homeroom teacher looked like. Glancing around all the while, the suit-clad teacher went toward the school building.
どうしました?
Flustered, I shook my head and resumed walking at Yua's side. Though we'd said we would go home together, my base was only 10 minutes from school. Shinsen Station, which Yua used, was further away. As a result, it ended up being more like me seeing her off. Out of habit, I entered Shuto Park. We could take a shortcut by cutting through here diagonally, though it would only save us a minute or so.
西条くんって朝よくこの公園でパンを食べてませんか？
あ、うん。
How did she know? Yeah, kind of creepy, ain't it?
やっぱりよく見かけたんです。でもいる時といない時があって。
Well, the days that you didn't spot him there, chances are that was because he wasn't going to school that day. That'd be my guess.
今日ようやくその謎が解けました。学校にたまにしか来ないからだったんですね。
Yep.
別にそれがダメって言ってるわけじゃなくてですね、素朴な疑問だったので。
Nope, and my timer is about to go off.
うん。
Although, if this segment's going to be fairly short after the timer goes off, I'll probably just go and continue past it. Yua suddenly stopped and looked over at the bench where I usually sat to have breakfast. It was currently empty.
なんだかここに座っているあなたの背中はすごく辛そうに見えて。
Leaning forward, Yua sent the tips of her fingers gliding along the bench's backrest.
何度も見かけるうちにだんだん気になってきて。
This bench was set right in front of the fence around the pond. Moreover, because sitting in it meant facing the bank of the pond, I didn't have to tremble in fear of anyone's gaze. The reason I had taken a liking to it was because the watermill nearby acted as a form of cover, keeping me from standing out.
ここ最近は姿を見かけなかった日は心配でご飯も喉を通らなかったりしてたんです。
Was that so? I had no idea she was watching me.
仲みたいですよね。一度も話したこともない人の心配してるなんて。でも話しかける勇気もなかったので。
Take that to its obvious conclusion, and you'd end up with her initial stalker-esque behavior. Maybe it would be more accurate to say that, rather than stalking me, she had been worried about me and watching over me. But she still did it in a stalker-esque fashion. Would be the way I would describe it. So, sure, she may have been worried and watching over you, but she still kind of seemed like a stalker.
ちょっと座ってみてもいいですか？西条くんがどんな景色を見ていたのか、私も知りたいから。
Okay, it kind of seems like this might go on for a bit longer, so I'll do a couple more lines, and then we'll see. I had no particular reason to say no. Facing the pond, I nodded. Sitting her bag on top of the bench, Yua gently sat down. She straightened her back and gazed out at the pond. Very quietly and very serenely, Yua was close beside me. A tender breeze stirred her hair and made ripples on the pond. Was this what it really meant to live? Though it was such normal, casual scenery and we were in such a critical situation, why did it seem as if tears would start flowing out of me at any moment?
ここで朝食をとるのって気持ちよさそうですよね。
Yua murmured. I took a peek at the side of her face. In an eroge, this would undoubtedly be the right time to confess to her. After being bound together, the two of us would kiss and reach our good end. Depending on the circumstances, we might also end up going straight to some exhibitionism.
私も今度やってみようかな。
Yua turned her head to look up at me. Unable to say anything, I dropped my gaze to her bag. As I looked at the 3 Gero froggy straps attached to her bag, I cursed myself for being so pathetic that I couldn't so much as meet a girl's gaze. Wait. Oh, let's go green. A second? Just now, something at the edge of my sight nagged at me. What I'd spied just now. Garrow Froggy. The mascot character was all the rage among high school girls. I'd seen it somewhere before. Where? Ah, that's right. Nanami had used one as her cell phone strap. That's all there was to it. Right. What kind of weird thoughts were going through my head? I'd gotten all suspicious. How stupid. Besides, Nanami had said that Garrow Froggies were a big fad among high school girls, so there was obviously nothing strange about Yua possessing some. Yeah, that's right. That's how it was. Honestly, there were times when it sucked to be so overly imaginative. No point in getting cowed by my own delusions.
西条くん
Still gazing up at me, Yua tilted her head. I hastily gave her a friendly smile.
あ、と
Now I'm curious as to what would have happened if we had chosen the red.
それ本当に流行ってるんだなって。ゲロカエルン。
Eh? What was with that reaction? Why has your expression become so strained? Did I say something bad just now? All I'd done was bring up the character called Garrow Froggy. Yet why? Yua had up until then worn a soft smile. Yua, who had up until then worn a soft smile, was now facing downward and made no effort to look at me. I couldn't tell what kind of expression she was making. My bad premonition wouldn't go away. The deja vu I had sensed the instant I saw the 3 Garrow Froggies dangling from her bag. I had definitely seen these before. I'd seen 3 Garrow Froggies in a row somewhere before, and Yua became frightened when I pointed them out to her. Mistrust raised its head in me, surging up to control my heart. Should I trust Yua or not?
ゲロカエルン西条くんも知ってるんですね。
Her voice was clearly getting shrill.
本当に大人気ですよね。私もあんまり可愛いとは思わなかったりするんですけど。
But if you don't think they're cute or anything, why would you bother having 3 of them? It seems kind of odd to have multiples of something that is considered cute, but you don't think it's cute, so why would you have multiple of them? Or multiples of them? Seems odd.
何人かの友達からもらっちゃって気がついたら3つになってまして。
But why would your friends have any reason to give you multiples of them at the end of the day? I mean, even if you have 3 different friends, each of which give you 1, why would you get 3 from them, period? Some of them I'm sure would go and realize, oh, she already has one. Oh well, I'm not going to go and give her this. The more Yua spoke, the more unnatural she started to sound. She didn't look at me. But she didn't look at me and try to smile, though she had spoken to me so kindly and so calmly just a little earlier. I felt hollow. I told her in my heart that she didn't need to say anything more.
見せてあげましょうか。
Reaching over to her bag, Yua began to remove the Garrow Froggies that were fastened there.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
Her hand was shaking minutely. Perhaps because she was in such a hurry, she had trouble taking the straps off.
変だな。どうして外れないんでしょう。絡まっちゃってるのかな。
When Yua tried to to forcefully pull the straps away, her bag fell off the bench. Because the fasteners weren't closed, notebook and textbooks came tumbling out from inside it.
私ったら何をやってるんでしょう。
If it were several minutes earlier, I might have mowed over Yua's clumsy side, but now all I could do was freeze in place because a single notebook had, by chance, opened up as it hit the ground. From within it poured memos and newspaper clippings and the like. It seemed to be some kind of scrapbook. The memos, the clippings, everything in it had to do with a certain series of incidents. I saw it clearly. New Gen.
なんて。
My voice was hoarse. Yua feverishly gathered the scattered memos and clippings and shoved them back in her bag. Yua rose. Hugging her bag to her chest, she smiled her smile from before had completely vanished, and she hung her head uncomfortably.
それは。
Yua didn't answer. Why won't you answer? Answer me. Say something to me. If you don't say anything, when I start thinking you must be guilty, or you must be feeling guilty, even though I'd started to believe in you, even though I'd started to think that maybe you would be my ally.
誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
Sarah had been right after all. 3D girls were the worst, each and every one of them. When Yua hadn't felt kindly toward me or anything, or even Yua hadn't felt kindly toward me or anything, she'd only approached me with some goal in mind. Perhaps she meant to hand me over to the police, perhaps she meant to threaten me. Why would she need to hand you over to the police? This sucks. This fucking sucks. Even though I'd started to forget all about that incident, even though since the police hadn't shown any signs of coming to talk to me about it, I made myself think I would get by without having anything to do with it, even though I hadn't wanted to get wrapped up in it. What the hell did you want from me? In any case, I turned on my heel, wanting to flee. But Io grabbed my wrist from behind me.
逃げるの？
Her voice made blood run cold, or made my blood run cold. A voice so chilly that my spine seemed about to freeze. I could hardly think of her as being the same Yua as before. On top of that, Yua's grip on my wrist was abnormally powerful. She gripped it so tight that pain shot through me, such a violent pain that it was enough to make me wonder if she would clench me to bits, all the way down to my bones. I tried to shake her off, but she wouldn't let go. On the contrary, she pulled me closer, making me pitch backwards.
逃げるの？
She whispered from behind me, more so than that, right beside my ears, sounding as though all emotion had died in her. Shuddering, I timidly turned around. The color residing in the depths of her glaring eyes weren't the same. Wasn't sane.
逃がさないよ。騙してたことは謝るけど、お互い様だし。あなただって隠してたことあるよね。
Hid something? I can only come up with one thing. Somehow, some way, this girl knew I'd witnessed the corpse and the perpetrator of the staking murder. And that was why she had approached me. She was ingenious after all. This meant every single thing she told me had been a lie. The fact that she'd been concerned about me since the first time she saw me. And the fact that she'd said she liked Barachu. And the fact that she'd promised to go together with me to pick up the post-awakening Sarah figure on the day it was released. And the fact that she smiled and nodded as though she were having fun listening to what I was telling her. And the fact that she said she wanted to become better friends with me. And the fact that she'd gotten worried about me when I didn't come to school. And the fact that she'd been nice enough to call me admirable. All of it had just been her saying whatever came to the top of her head. I clenched my fists in frustration and grief. Fuck. Why did I try so hard to believe in someone like her?
本当はもっと時間をかけて調べたかったんだけど、バレちゃったからしょうがないよね。あなたに聞いてもらいたい話があるの。聞いてくれるよね。
It's not like we really have much of a choice.
聞かないなんて言わないよね。
Again, we don't really have much of a choice, so we pretty much have to listen no matter what.
あなたは聞くべき。
Okay, I get it. We're gonna listen. Again, we don't have much of a choice though, either way.
聞いて。聞くでしょ。
Oh my god.
聞かないなら。
If I don't listen, what? She was like a different person from the Yua I'd known up until now. Her gentle, calm atmosphere had vanished. Now I sensed an unapproachable atmosphere and an indiscernible tenacity. Or an indescribable tenacity. Her tone was absolute in its self-possession. No cool-headedness might be a better way to put it. Her usual frailty was nowhere to be found. No, I didn't want to listen. I tried to cover my ears. But I couldn't do it. You had captured one of my hands. She wasn't gripping it as hard as before, but she showed no sign of letting go. She wouldn't let my hand move freely. Still, holding on to me, she reached inside her bag and slowly, deliberately, pulled out something that shone dully. She held it out toward me. Or dully, whatever. I was stunned. My heartbeat leapt higher. I couldn't stay calm. I was so shocked that I lowered the one hand covering my ear. That was when Yua's accusatory voice reached my ears.
この十字架に見覚えあるよね。
Of course I recognized it. I soon saw it for what it was. It resembled a cross, but was in truth a stake. One didn't often see stakes with such a distinctive shape. At the very least, I had only seen them once before.
やっぱり知ってるのね。
Okay, so this has gone on for much longer than I would have liked, and I do still want to try to keep the episode relatively short. So, yeah, we're going to cut this here, and, well, I will see you guys next time. But until then, goodbye and farewell. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. And as I said, I will see you guys next time. But until